Welcome back to the Scotiabank Saddledome, day number 2 of Training Camp 2.0 for the Calgary Flames. And this is different, but man, is it a step in the right direction for us. It's been a long time since I've seen you, pal. Peter Loubardias, Sportsnet 960, The Fan. It's good to see you, even though we've got the separation.
It's great to see you.
And the masks. And wow, what a time, hey?
Yeah, what a time it has been, but it is great to be back in a hockey rink. It's great to be back watching people play the game that we all love so much. And again, you know, we talk about players in terms of what are you prepared to do in order to win? Well, we're in a different situation. And in my case, maybe the mask might help because I've always wanted to look a little different anyway. And from a sound quality standpoint, maybe it minimizes the level a little bit too. So it's good.
So, sound reducer. Well, listen, you just talked about it. I think Ryan Huska, assistant coach of the Calgary Flames, mentioned that yesterday. All the work that had to be put in place, you know, right from the league on down to the medical staff in order for this to have even a remote chance of going forward. But here we are now 2 days in. And in terms of, you know, the protocol, that's what we know is different. But when it comes to the actual on-ice sessions, you know, a lot of it does feel the same. What for you has stood out through the first couple of days?
Probably just that. Outside of, and we're not going to get into this because there's no point at this point, just the groupings. And we know that the situation is dictated that maybe the groups weren't exactly how the Flames had, you know, drawn them before that we got here. But, Brendan, it feels very much the same as it would when we come to town, in my case in September, and watch day 1 or day 2 of training camp. I think the fascinating thing for me has been I cannot, and I asked Jeff Ward about it in the WebEx meeting today, about the plan of how to execute and come up with a plan for a different 3 weeks. Generally, we're here for 3 days as a camp, and now we're into exhibition games. This is basically a 3-week process, which I would probably define as week 1 is a refresher, week 2 is the competition, and then week 3, probably when you get to Edmonton, the hub, is the fine-tuning to get you ready for August the 1st. But no stone guaranteed has been unturned about how to handle it. And the other thing, quickly, is I very much liken it a lot to teams, although on a grand scale, to get ready for a World Cup. You come back, you have kind of this type of training camp, and basically you need to be ready to go right off the hop. So, you know, I guarantee you Jeff has leaned on Red, taken every possible resource, as he pointed out today, to set up the plan, and yet in understanding this, the plan can potentially change each and every day.
And that's one of the things I think everybody's prepared for over the course of this next 2 weeks for sure. And then obviously that third week getting ready in Edmonton. Just specifically on the notes that you pointed out, I mean, Jeff has always been really good about talking in terms of the preparation and the mentality side of things. And that's been one of the things I've been most interested to hear from players and staff is just that competition and how it's not going to be a regular season. You're not gearing up for a marathon here. It is a pure sprint, whether it's from the start of camp to the actual games being played. You know, how interesting is that to see just the response and how that builds up to a playoff, even though we're not calling it a playoff?
I'm going to call it. You don't have to. People in the league might say, no, this is a playoff round. You can call it play-in, playoff, must. It's a best of 5. This is a playoff situation, and this group is trying to put itself in the best position so that August the 1st, that night, they are ready. I heard your interview with Jeff last week. What did he talk about? We want to get to August 1st feeling like we had no pause. Yep. That's where you want to get. And I think the other thing that he pointed to today, this team did not do well in the playoffs last year. Your mindset on a day-to-day basis has never, in my opinion, been more important with all the extenuating circumstances and factors. It's about creating a different mindset to be better and to have learned from your past experiences so that you can do better starting game 1 against the Jets.
And it is a journey. It is a process, even though it's going to fly by really quickly. And it's fun to talk about hockey again, isn't it?
Love the process. and I think I love hockey even more.
Well said, Peter Loubardias. Thanks for your time. We can't wait to do this again as camp rolls
You know
on.
what? You're still handsome, mask, not mask. You're looking like $1 million.
Trying our best here. Lubo in the Flames TV hot seat.